2 degrees Celsius. This is the goal of the Paris Climate Agreement, to keep the average global temperature from warming more than 2 degrees above pre-industrial levels. It's been about 200 years since the Industrial Revolution. In that time, ever-increasing amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere have helped heat the Earth more than halfway to that point. Let's take a closer look at the last 100 years. From 1920 to 1980, the global temperatures climbed about 0.4 of a degree Celsius. After 1980, that pace more than doubled. In just 40 years, the temperatures have climbed another 0.7 of a degree. In 3 of the last 5 years, temperatures have crossed the 1.2 degree mark. Last year, we reached 1.27 degrees Celsius above late 19th century temperatures. We're dangerously accelerating toward that 2 degrees. And this is only a global average. Many locations around the planet have seen temperatures soar to much higher levels. Large parts of Europe, Greenland, Alaska, and Russia, including Siberia, have already surpassed 2 degrees. And up north, above the Arctic Circle, the warming is over 4 degrees. That extra heat concentrated in the Arctic, well, that's causing a massive melt of polar ice, and it's only getting worse. On average, 14,000 tons of water melt from the Arctic every second. That's more than 4 times the amount of water that goes over Niagara Falls each second. If we stay on our course over the last 10 years, the Earth could hit the 2 degree mark as soon as 2040, and possibly up to 3 degrees by 2060. Only a significant reduction in carbon dioxide emissions quickly will make the Paris goal a reality. Climate scientists say surpassing that milestone will result in more frequent deadly heat waves, drought, and wildfires, making large areas of our planet uninhabitable. And sea levels are, quote, very likely to rise a foot by the end of the century and could rise by even as much as 8 feet. That will likely make hurricanes more powerful, specifically unleashing flooding connected with dangerous storm surges, impacting hundreds of millions of people who live in coastal areas. Our road to 2 degrees is shortening. The time to act? Now.
Climate change. It's real. It's serious. And it's up to us to solve it. In the last 2 decades, we've experienced 14 of the hottest 15 years on record. By 2050, drought and chronic water shortages could impact 1 billion people, while millions more will be at risk from coastal flooding. It can seem overwhelming, but there's reason for hope. If we embrace solar and wind power to their full potential, we can cut the world's yearly carbon emissions by 1/3. Already, Germany generates 27% of its electricity from renewables, with a goal of 80% by 2050. Denmark has shown it can produce more wind energy than it can use, and England is building the world's biggest offshore wind farm. Communities large and small are taking steps. A new public building in Mexico City has an exterior that breaks down air pollutants, erasing the effects of 1,000 cars each day. Paris installed street tiles that harvest energy from foot traffic. Other cities are paving streets with smog-eating concrete and sidewalks with recycled materials. Individuals can make a difference too, through the choices we make every day. If every American driver drove 10 miles less each week, it could eliminate more than 100 billion pounds of carbon from the air each year. New innovations are making important strides possible, and more are on the way, but we can't wait. Reimagining our world's energy future will take a shared sense of urgency from countries, companies, cities, and all of us. Working together, real change is possible. Learn more at natgeo.com/climate.
Good afternoon, everyone. We will begin our Kamayan Forum with our Zoom etiquette, followed by the opening prayer and our Philippine National Anthem. 40 days to go na po, Pasko na. Muli, makakalikasang araw po sa ating lahat.
All-powerful God, you are present in the whole universe and in the smallest of your creatures. You embrace with your tenderness all that exists. Pour out upon us the power of your love, that we may protect life and beauty. Fill us with peace, that we may live as brothers and sisters, harming no one. O God of the poor, help us to rescue the abandoned and forgotten of this earth, so precious in your eyes. Bring healing to our lives, that we may protect the world and not prey on it, that we may sow beauty, not pollution and destruction. Touch the hearts of those who look only for gain at the expense of the poor and the earth. Teach us to discover the worth of each thing, to be filled with awe and contemplation, to recognize that we are profoundly united with every creature as we journey towards your infinite light. We thank you for being with us each day. Encourage us, we pray, in our struggle for justice, love, and peace. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, dalas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiid. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baghaw, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good afternoon! Isang makakalikasan at mainit na pagbati sa inyong lahat. Thank you for joining the 413th episode of Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum. This is a public online environmental forum brought to you every third Friday of the month by Green Convergence or GC. Today's topic, the saving power of mountains, is very timely as our communities face one devastating typhoon after another. How do we maximize the power of our mountains to protect us from this onslaught? In case you missed the announcement earlier, we are currently live streaming at the GC Facebook page. A video recording of this forum will also be uploaded to the GC website and YouTube channel. I am your moderator, Marie Marciano, a founding member and former vice president of GC, as well as a lifetime volunteer and advocate of multiple causes, particularly human rights, social justice, and, of course, the environment. Now it's time to call in my co-moderator for today. Kamayan regulars know her very well as a regular fixture in our sessions, who consistently asks our guest speakers hard, intelligent questions from the gallery. Today, she is wearing an additional hat as co-moderator, and here she is, none other than the Executive Director of Green Convergence, Miss Tessa Oliva. Hello, Tessa.
Hi, everyone. Okay, we are here in another Kamayan Forum, 413th episode. Wow. And we have a topic that is very relevant to our times now. We've been having typhoons, di ba, one after another. And we're happy that we have quite a number of people who have indicated their interest to join. So 72 registered, and we hope some of them will continue to come as we wait for them. From Academe, there are 27 from Caragan, Nueva Ecija, Benguet, Davao, Cebu, and Metro Manila.
All over the Philippines.
Yes, we're so happy that we're getting more people getting involved in our Kamayan. From the NGO, civic society, organizations, and youth, we have 13. From religious sectors, 5, government, 11, private and business, 5, and individuals, 2. So we all look forward to this informative session on how we can really take care of our environment as we experience the effects of climate change.
Okay. Is that it, Tessa? You have something more to add? Okay, thank you very much. Let's go on with the forum. To give us the opening remarks, please welcome an active leader of the Philippine Environment Movement, a stalwart of environmental education, and the president of Green Convergence, Ms. Victoria Segovia. Good afternoon, Vicky.
Thank you, Marie. Good afternoon. Thank you, Marie. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome once again to our monthly Kamayan session. Just this week, we had cancellation of classes due to Typhoon Ophel. As mentioned by Marie and Tessa, we have so many typhoons just the past weeks. The Typhoon Ophel is the 15th tropical cyclone to hit the Philippine area of responsibility, and the third this month of November after Marce and Nika. A fourth typhoon with a masculine name Pipito is expected today or this weekend. Of course, the names are given in the Philippines, but they have international names. A bulletin has been put out just recently warning us about the damages that this typhoon might bring, because they say that it might go up to intensity number 5. While preparing for these opening remarks, I came across an interesting research study with the title, "Does the Sierra Madre mountain range in Luzon act as a barrier to typhoons?" by Professors Jerry Bagtase and Bernard Alan B. Racoma of the UP Institute of Environmental Science and Meteorology, and found interesting information on how the Sierra Madre can be effective at reducing wind exposure and rainfall in Cagayan Valley, and how it can weaken the impacts of the typhoons in the Bicol region, which was badly devastated by Christine just last month. In addition to this very important Sierra Madre mountain, we have the blessing of the stunning Cordillera mountain ranges. We are not limited to these two mountains, however. Our whole country is dotted with scenic and biodiversity-rich mountains throughout the archipelago. This is even reflected in our national anthem, "Sa Dagat at Bundok." But sadly, this important ecosystem is in danger. Just today, I came across an email with a petition from the people of Sarangani requesting us to sign their manifesto to fast-track House Bill 9270, declaring Mount Busa as protected area. Indeed, we will be discussing a very important topic today. We are fortunate to hear the presentation. We will be fortunate this afternoon to hear the presentations of experts from different fields on the saving power of our mountains, a God-given gift to protect and defend us from the fury of nature. So without further ado, let us take a deep breath, buckle ourselves, and enjoy learning about our wonderful mountains that serve as barriers to the negative impacts of nature's fury. God bless us. Good afternoon again.
to thank you, Vicky, first for your insightful overview of our topic today. But before we plunge into the discussions, let me give you a brief rundown of the program flow. The forum has two major parts. Part 1 consists of the speakers' presentations to be given successively without Q&A interruptions. So tuloy-tuloy, no? And part 2 is the open forum where you can then freely ask your questions to be answered directly by the speakers concerned. Since questions will not be entertained during part 1, as I said, it is advisable to write down your questions to be sure you don't forget. So that's all. Tessa, you have something to add?
Okay. Right. Well, I have some guidelines for the participants. Well, to avoid distracting ambient noise, we ask all participants to keep your microphones on mute for the duration of the webinar, except during the open forum, when participants are welcome to speak and ask questions. Meanwhile, well, for your comments, you can use the chat box for reactions also or messages. That's all.
Okay. So thank you very much for those reminders. Our first speaker, who will give us a picture of the mountainous topography of the Philippines, is an assistant professor of the University of the Philippines. He was a project consultant at the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, and has been a corporate social responsibility officer of the University of Asia and the Pacific. Please join me in welcoming Fernand Francis Hermoso.
Good day to everyone. My name is Fernand Francis Hermoso from the Department of Geography of the College of Social Sciences and Philosophy of UP Diliman. Today, I was given the task to highlight the importance of the mountainous topography of the country. As part of my advocacy for a holistic alignment of education and praxis, I would like to welcome everyone into this discussion on the importance of these natural infrastructures and why they should be protected the same way that they are protecting us. As a backgrounder, here are the points that will be discussed in this lecture. First, the Philippines rock, a brief geological history of the country, which should provide us with a grounding regarding this talk. Second, we have #blessed, location of select mountain ranges of the Philippines. Since I have only a limited time for discussion, I will just highlight a few mountain ranges and their location in the country. And lastly, of course, in connection with the second point, we have Bakit Nga Ba, wherein I will discuss the importance of these mountain ranges to the surrounding ecosystem, both for human and more than human, and why they should also be protected. For this talk, I am also aligning it with 4 Sustainable Development Goals: SDG 11 or Sustainable Cities and Communities, SDG 13 or Climate Action, SDG 15 or Life on Land, and SDG 17 Partnerships for the Goal. First of all, let me introduce to you the discipline of geography. Geography in general plays a key role in our understanding of the effects of the location and presence of mountain ranges all over our country. And as a matter of fact, it gives us this lens to understand better what our physical geography is due to our unique geology. But first, we need to understand what geography provides us with in the context of our mountain ranges. To begin, I would like to highlight that geography is divided into 2 major fields: human and physical. For human geography, which is the study of the role of humans in the creation, destruction, and continuous development of places and spaces, we have several subtopics such as geopolitics, cultural geography, economic geography, as well as regional studies. These subtopics investigate the imprints left by the human component on their physical landscapes. On the other hand, physical geography roots from the earth science tradition of geography, and it deals with the studies on land, water bodies, the atmosphere, as well as flora and fauna. This branch of geography links the discipline with that of the natural sciences. Of course, physical geography also has its subtopics, such as landform analysis, climatology, hydrology, and biogeography. These studies help people make sense of the natural processes happening around them, and this is where the concept of our mountain ranges come in. Given this, we can now transition to a brief geologic history of our country. Let us begin with our first topic, the Philippines rock, a brief geological history of the Philippines. In this topic, I will be presenting to you a brief geological backgrounder on the Philippines and how this geologic history helped in the creation of our mountain ranges. Let us now have a quick backgrounder on the geology of the country. First, let's begin with its area. First, we all know that the Philippines is an archipelago, and that the Philippines covers around 2.2 million square kilometers of water with 7,641 estimated islands as of 2019, with around 300,000 square kilometers of land area, and our coastline is considered fourth longest in the world with 36,289 kilometers. In preparation for this study, I consulted the article of Mario Aurelio and his colleagues entitled Sculpting the Philippine Archipelago Since the Cretaceous Through Rifting, Oceanic Spreading, Subduction, Abduction, Collision, and Strike-Slip Faulting, Contribution to IGMA 5000. According to Aurelio and his colleagues, the Philippine Archipelago resulted from a complex series of geologic and tectonic events such as continental rifting, strike-slip faulting, oceanic spreading, and subduction. In addition to that, Aurelio and his colleagues introduced us to the concept of the PMB and the PCB. The PMB, according to Aurelio and his colleagues, consists largely of Cretaceous ophiolites, green schists, and igneous rocks associated with the formation of island arcs such as the Philippines, while the PCB, or the Palawan-Mindoro Continental Block, was originally a part of the Asian mainland that was drifted away during the Mesozoic and drifted in the course of the opening of the South China Sea during the late Paleogene. What I would like to highlight in this study is the Philippines as a country is a product of such a violent origin, and these processes continue up to the modern day. We are now at this point of the lecture wherein we transition to the next topic, which is #blessed, location of select mountain ranges in the country and their physical geography. Let us now look at the physical geography of these mountains. I would like to highlight that in order for us to really understand these mountain ranges, we need to consider the physical geographic aspect of our country. So let's begin with our first mountain range. So the first mountain range that we are going to discuss is none other than the famous Sierra Madre, perhaps the single most important topographic feature of the island of Luzon. This mountain range have proven time and time again that it can protect us from the typhoons spawning from the Pacific Ocean. The particular view that you see here is Sierra Madre from the town of Paquil, Laguna. The Sierra Madre is located on the eastern side of the island of Luzon. stretching 540 kilometers from as far north as Cagayan to the province of Quezon to the south. According to UNESCO, the Northern Sierra Madre Natural Park, or NSMNP, is within the Sierra Madre Biogeographic Zone, or SMBGZ, which lies along the eastern side of central Luzon. The Northern Sierra Madre Natural Park, or NSMNP, is one of the 10 priority protected areas in our country. We have several endemic species that can be found along this mountain range. These include the Philippine eagle, or Pithecophaga jeffreyi. We also have several species of bats, flying foxes, including the golden-crowned flying fox, the Philippine eagle owl, the Isabella oriole, green sea turtles, loggerhead turtles, hawksbill turtles, the Philippine crocodile, and the dugong. The NSMNP is habitat to many endemic and rare species of plants as well. Among the endemic species of plants in the park are the various species of Dipterocarp family, as well as leguminous families and member of citrus families. Let us now look at another mountain range here on the island of Luzon, the Zambales Mountain Range. What you see here is the view of the Zambales Mountain Range from Subic Bay. The Zambales Mountain Range stretches from up to 5 provinces: Zambales, Pangasinan, Tarlac, Pampanga, and Bataan. Here is the location of that mountain range. Zambales Mountain Range is also known as the Western Cordillera, extending from Olongapo to the Pangasinan province. In fact, the most prominent peak from this mountain range is none other than Mount Pinatubo. Now, let us look at the relevance of these topographic features in this portion, Bakit Nga Ba? Understanding the significance of these topographic features. I would like to begin my discussion on the importance of these mountain ranges using the triple bottom line approach as inspired by John Elkington. The triple bottom line is made up of 3 spheres: the social, the economic, and the environmental. And we shall be discussing each and every one of them as we move forward. First, the reason that this framework is the one I use is that in this study, when approached with a sense of balance, social, economic, and environmental can lead us to true sustainability, or the ability to maintain and future-proof our resources, our knowledge, our people, and even our culture. The first point that I want to discuss is the fact that these mountain ranges are home to several indigenous people groups. According to the National Commission on Indigenous People, or NCIP, the Sierra Madre is known to be the home to Dumaga tribes, who are considered the natural protector of the Sierra Madre. While on the Zambales Mountain Range, or Western Cordillera, it is home to the Aita Ambala tribes, whose lives depend on the land and continues to practice slash-and-burn farming or Sweden agriculture. These mountain ranges can be considered A landscape of utility, as the tribes gathers food from the mountains. B, landscape of ancestry, as most of our IPs here in the Philippines consider the land of their birth as their only home. After several consultations from different IP groups, as a sustainability consultant, I would like to share that I found out that taking the IPs away from the land of their birth is tantamount to destroying their cultural identity. Thus, this is the first significance of these mountain ranges here in our country, as a home to indigenous groups of people. The second point that I want to discuss is the environmental significance of these mountain ranges. We have experienced time and time again how these mountain ranges have saved us from storms, with Sierra Madre being our last line of defense against the Pacific Ocean spawning typhoons. Not only humans, but I would also like you to think about the more than human aspects of our ecosystem. They also rely on the protection and shelter that these mountain ranges bring. Several endemic species call these features their home. The very presence of these mountain ranges enable these species to proliferate and thus help in the maintenance of a healthy and teeming ecosystem. In the concept of sustainability, a healthy ecosystem is one where each component neither hurts nor is a source of stress and pollution in that system. The mountain ranges provide food, shelter, and protection to different living species and help in the regulation of climate. Thus, the environmental significance of these mountain ranges are basically for food, shelter, and protection. And for the last point, the economic significance of these mountain ranges. We can look at these topographical features as sources of raw materials. The Philippines is blessed to have Sierra Madre, a source of water and food for the people of Luzon due to its many watersheds, food due to its many different species of flora and fauna. However, we can also consider Sierra Madre and be sustainable consumers of the resources from these mountains if we want to sustain our people. Conservation is key, or tempered extraction, as well as a hands-on protection from our politicians of these mountains. The late President Benigno Aquino III, via the Presidential Proclamation 413, designates September 26 of every year as Save Sierra Madre Day due to what happened with Ondoy. Thus, the point that I wanted to share here is that the economic significance of the Sierra Madre is as a source of raw materials for sustainable development. So this ends my presentation on the importance of some of the well-known mountain ranges in the country. I would like to end this presentation with this point. Be learned enough to care. Knowing the where of these mountain ranges is not enough. One has to understand the why, the social, the economic, and environmental aspects of the mountains. Only by doing so can we start to really show that we care. And with that, thank you and have a great day.